welcome back to VAR Espresso, where we move into match day two of each group, and maybe more intrigue than some of the games. Well, one of the games yesterday, the specifically the last game of the night. Good for them to put that 5-0 at the end of the day. Welcome, Daniel, Leo.
Hi.
Uh, Before that, though, a lot of interesting stuff, including a long weather delay. The weather in Cincinnati was really bad. Nasty thunderstorms. You're going to get that in some of these matches here, where you get a delay, and the delay actually uh, added to the intrigue of that match. But good morning, and what was your takeaways from yesterday?
Daniel, I will let you start if you want.
Ah, merci beaucoup. Okay, yes, well, I mean, to be fair, two of the games went exactly as we predicted, more or less. They were pleasantly surprised how competitive Pachuca and Red Bull Salzburg match was, because as you look at the attendance of only 5,200, the stadium itself was only 26,000, so a small stadium, and yet an attendance of what, 20%. It felt empty, and it was a small stadium, so it's a shame. But it was a good game, actually. It was well competed. It was well balanced. But yeah, the Real Madrid 𝐊𝐤𝐤 one was really fun, really good, and also a lot more competitive than we anticipated. Yeah, so really good day of football. Really, really fun, interesting watch. Although I will say I have developed a real hatred of the one player introduction at a time.
Yeah.
I think it's so stupid. Especially, again, if you could probably get away with it if it's Real Madrid, right? But if you're sort of in an empty stadium of only 5,000 people introducing Red Bull Salzburg players that no one's heard of in that stadium, it's just so awkward. Then you have to do it 11 times for each team. It works for five-a-side tournaments, the YouTube and the social media platform shows of like the sport. That's exciting, that's fun. But for full-size games, it looks ridiculous.
And
Yeah,
maybe
I
save
agree.
that till the end. Maybe save that to the final or something like this for a big
Yeah.
match or something.
Yeah.
What do you think, Leo?
Oh, the first thing I want to say is to apologize to Wydad fans because yesterday we predicted the game to end like 3 or 4-0, and it was quite competitive game also. Uh, and it was kind of a surprise because against Manchester City, we didn't expect them to play that good, and it was really nice to see a new opposition. We saw that South American teams were at level with European clubs, but now there are another teams that can compete with them. So it was really good, and I want to make a special shout out to sorry for the pronunciation name, but 𝐊𝐤𝐤𝐤, who was a real threat to City all the game long. I really liked him. And yeah, it was a good game. We can also talk about City's Cherki, who has been kind of neutral yesterday. But I think that I read and I heard that some people were disappointed by his performance. But I think that if it's the case, it's because they have big expectations concerning him. So in in a way, it's a good thing for him. And however, they shouldn't be too hard on him because you have to think that he is only 21, has just left from his boyhood club. So he will need to adapt himself to a new club, one of the biggest on the planet. tactical demands, physical demands. So let's give him time.
Yeah, I mean, also I think we saw that with like Real Madrid. Lots of debuts, lots of new players and new managers. It's
Yeah,
going to take time for it to all gel properly.
yeah. And you, Sean, what did you think about
I
the
got a
game?
chance to watch basically the two middle matches in full, and after the long break, I just kept kind of waiting for that break. I thought that was a really good, entertaining contest, which I thought it was going to be. And I remember specifically talking about how everyone was talking about Salzburg maybe shouldn't be here, and the commentators after they scored the goal to go ahead 2-1, we're talking about that this team shouldn't even be here. Everyone's doubting them and all this. But and there's the long delay. And after a lot of people left. Like Daniel said, there wasn't a lot of people there to begin with, but there was a pocket of about 20 or 25 supporters from Salzburg down behind the goal, and they scored, and they were all in the rain celebrating. I thought that was pretty cool. Just to see them win that, and they're in charge of the group right now because the first of the middle games, the 3 p.m. kickoff here. Look, Real Madrid. You saw Xavi, and he said, he took a page out of Ruben Amorim's playbook. There's going to be some pain. It's going to take time. I don't know how well that goes over at Real Madrid because they're not they're not used to rebuilds there. They don't like rebuilds. They like to compete right away, and I'm sure they will. But you know, just watching them play yesterday, and there's obviously Mbappe's not playing, and they're bidding in some younger players, which is what this whole tour is should be about. So but look, it's going to be one of these things where maybe it does take a little bit of time to change the system and do this. And that was the other thing people were saying. He wanted to change the system, and then all of a sudden he just played with a back four, and people were like, "Listen, I thought we were going to do a back three." So I thought that was something that maybe we'll watch here. And it's probably nothing if Real Madrid goes on and beats the next two teams in the group and gets to a final, whatever. But it's just to see that, see them struggling a little bit, and like they did at the end of the season. They
Yeah,
maybe they didn't score as many goals as they should, and maybe their defense wasn't as strong as it should be. So
yeah.
Well, should we pick apart the first game of the day, the Manchester City Wydad Casablanca? You mentioned Leo that obviously we predicted that it was going to be a real struggle for them, and Man City would easily win. Um, And yeah, I was really pleasantly surprised at Wydad's how competitive they were. I do think it was in part due to Manchester City's centre back partnership. I don't think that worked. Obviously, Nathan Ake has only recently come back from injury, so he's surely going to be a bit rusty. And then pairing him with 𝐊𝐢𝐜𝐤 Reyes, who really struggled at times.
Yeah.
And obviously he's young, and it was a purchase for developing the player what he could become. But a lot of his passes were going in astray. He took time to control the ball, and he did make a couple of not basic errors at the back. But for example, like I forgot the pronunciation of 𝐊𝐢𝐜 or 𝐊𝐢𝐜 or however. But yeah, there was that moment
Yeah.
in the 32nd minute where ball over the top, 𝐊𝐢𝐜𝐤 Reyes doesn't deal with it. He lets it bounce. He misreads it, and then 𝐊𝐢𝐜 is through on goal, and then does everything right, gets the edge of the penalty area, cuts inside. Covering defender slides by, but then 𝐊𝐢𝐜 slips and the chance is gone and he knocks it forward, and obviously then it's saved. But yeah, that would have been a very interesting moment because that would have been 1-1, and Wydad didn't really offer anything for the first 25 minutes or so, but that was the first real potent counter-attack and actually catching City off guard. So yeah, had that gone in, it could have been an entirely different match. Yes, it's a shame. But also, yeah, pleasantly surprised how Wydad did compete, despite the fact in obviously such difficult temperatures. They only had 32% of the ball. They actually did pretty well dealing with these superstars.
Yeah, and I think Lorch emphasizes the idea of acting before thinking, because sometimes he was going straight forward very fast, but he was alone, and
Mm,
when he had to make the last action of the game, the last pass, the key shot, he didn't complete that because he was too fast compared to some of his teammates. And what was interesting too, it was that Widad, when they attacked on position-based attacked, there were five, sometimes five going forward. So for a team like that against a team like Manchester City, it was pretty ambitious, in my opinion.
mm. And actually, it's quite interesting watching Manchester City, who a lot of they do tend to slow it down, and at times they're quite boring to watch because of just the element of control. So, keeping the opposition pinned in there, the final third, passing it around, forcing a mistake, and just waiting.
Yeah.
So it was quite interesting to see that actually they were very dangerous from set pieces as opposed to any runs in behind or anything like that. It was, yeah, so like the second goal came from a Phil Foden corner. Doku ran in and volleyed it home from 8 yards. But there were a couple of other opportunities. I think Ake headed wide as well from another good corner.
Yeah.
The red card at the end made it quite interesting, though. Do you think it was a red card, either of you two?
I think I don't think there was the intent to when the tackle happened, but I think as soon as you kick someone in the face, the ref is gonna is probably gonna err on the side of he. I mean, he pulled the red card out right away. Like he had the red card out as soon as it saw it happen, and he was right there. So I know Rico Lewis was a little bit shocked, but if he does it, if it's just a slight tackle, it's nothing. But I mean, he kicked him in the face, so I don't
Yeah.
know. I think it's a tough call, but it's unlucky. I'll say that it's unlucky.
Yeah, it's not a scandal, but the referee has to sanction dangerous behavior. So
Hmm.
even
Well, I
if it
suppose
wasn't meant,
in my head, I think personally, I didn't think it was a red card. Because much like in the handball rule, that if the ball strikes your hand, but like if it's deflected off a different part of your body
yeah,
or the opponent's body, then it's not handball because then it's a short direction, uh, short deflection handball. Um, so in the tackle, obviously he gets the ball first, and then the two players their feet collide, and Rico Lewis's foot bounces off of the other player's foot, and that's when it strikes him in the face.
yeah,
So so it was the momentum that took his foot into the other player's foot, which is a perfectly natural place for a foot to be, in tackling for the ball. But then it ricochets onto the guy's face. And I'm not sure that means he's out of control. I'm not sure. Again, it's unlucky, and it's really unlucky for obviously the player who got a boot to the face. But it's not as if Rico Lewis tackled the ball and then his foot just went straight up. It was a collision, and then it hit him in the face. So yeah, I sort of
Yeah,
thought like that.
I
Yeah,
just think
it
it's
wasn't out of control. It wasn't a dangerous tackle. But having said that, VAR can't overturn it because obviously there's not a clear and obvious error. But yeah, I think it's the sort of thing that might get overturned. If once under like significant video review, like, oh yeah, that's right. There's a deflection of the foot.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad it happened at the end of the match because had it happened earlier, it might have changed the result. Um, yeah, so it's not the sort of thing where you want to see that influencing a match.
No, 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 no.
uh,
And
yeah. Go ahead, Leo.
no, let's. You can go, Sean.
I was just gonna go on to the Real Madrid and Al Hilal.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was too.
Yeah, Real Madrid, Al Hilal. Madrid score. The young kid Garcia gets his second goal ever. I know they're trying a different, um, you know, person up top with Mbappe out. And I know both. Just after the match, the City match. Foden and Pep talked about look, the weather. It was really, really humid.
Yeah.
It wasn't super hot. Like it's not super hot here, but it's 98% humidity. I think that slowed the game down. I think that had a little bit of an issue in the Real Madrid match as well. But they score, they go ahead, and then as Real Madrid's done many, I watched a lot of Madrid matches this year. It's 7 minutes later. They're it's even with penalty and Ruben Neves, and then my guy Foxy slow motion replay looks a lot worse than it was
Yeah.
really red. Well, thanks. What's up, Foxy? How's it going? Long time. He's been a big, long time watcher of us. So welcome, Foxy. A South American expert. If you got any questions about South America, he is the guy to ask. But Madrid in the second half, just like I don't know. It's just you've watched them. If you've watched them last year, it's just a continuation. Like they just don't look as dangerous as they have in the past, and I don't know how they fixed it.
But sorry.
No, you can go.
I think it was a good opposition because 𝐊𝐤𝐜𝐤, in my opinion, is the closest team to European clubs in this competition, with a lot of, as we said yesterday, a lot of experienced players who used to play in Europe. So now even the coach is one of the best referenced manager in the world. So it was really a good opposition, and we saw that Real Madrid were about to, I will not say lose, but they were dominated during a long time during the game. Even if they could have won because of the penalties on the last minutes saved by Bonu, who is a real expert in the exercise. So yeah, and as you said, Sean, previously, Xabi Alonso has a lot of work to do, and I think some players also weren't at the level required at a team, at a club like Real Madrid. I'm not a big fan of what's his name, Raúl Asensio. Sorry. I don't think he's a defender who can play at the highest level at Real Madrid, but he's still young, so
he's young, but he's also sorry to jump in, but he's also a Real Madrid graduate, right? So
yeah,
it helps with
it's
that.
important to them to show that they can had academy graduate to the team, but I think he's on difficulties as he was for the season. Alexander-Arnold had a difficult start to his Madrid's adventure, not like 𝐊𝐤𝐤𝐜 that I found interesting, notably on his passing capacity. So yeah, they're good points, but the thing is that Xabi Alonso has a lot of work.
Yeah, and actually, so this goes back to what we were highlighting yesterday about you say Raúl Asensio and Dean Huijsen, right? We said yesterday it's new signing, it's a new centre-back partnership, and if we're being kind, Raúl Asensio is the fourth choice centre-back in the squad, maybe even fifth after Tchouaméni, who drops back. I saw that when they conceded the penalty, right? So Raúl Asensio not quite dealing with it, allowing Marcos Leonardo to sort of niggle away, be annoying, and pulling him back. It's not. It didn't look great, and he sort of didn't cover himself in glory. But I mean, again, looking at the chances, you're absolutely right about not dominating. Real Madrid, 52% possession to 48%. So 𝐊𝐤𝐜𝐤 were their equals. It's not as if they, one was sitting back and counterattacking. Like, no, they had a complete share of possession.
Yeah.
Real Madrid definitely had the better chances. Bono made a couple of really good saves. That was an incredible save from Gonzalez. The first minute after the restart, Vinicius Junior crosses from the left. There's a gorgeous volley from 𝐊𝐤𝐤𝐜 from about 10 yards out, which thumps off the crossbar. Really unlucky. But then 𝐊𝐤𝐜𝐤 don't clear, comes back to Vinicius Jr., clips it to the back post, and Gonzalez has to just head it into the back of the net. And Bono, to be fair, the header was straight at him more or less, but he managed to sort of claw it up and away. It was really good reaction save. And obviously Bono saving a penalty in the last minute, which seemed, that was never a penalty. I'm sorry, but like it was so soft. It'd be one thing if who got hit in the face? I've actually forgotten. Fran Garcia from left back.
Yeah.
So him sort of charging forwards, and had he been ahead of the defender and got clipped in the face, it would still be soft, but I don't understand it. But the defender was completely in control of it and was shielding it. Yeah, never a penalty for me. So glad Bono saved it, actually.
Yeah. I guess we're talking about this game a little bit different if Valverde finishes the penalty, but still, I think it wasn't a great, Real Madrid performance. Salzburg 2-1, Pachuca. Look, I mean, once again, we have to talk about the huge weather delay. I mean, it was there's the goal right before the half. Second half started, huge weather delay, nasty thunderstorms. Once again, you're going to get this in America because of the weather. But after the break, I think the match popped into life. And as Pedro joins us, talk about popping into life. I thought was probably the Real Madrid and Ali was pretty even, but I thought this was maybe the most entertaining match of the day. It was pretty fun to watch. Both teams were going for it. Pachuca's got some pretty good players. If once again, if Rondon takes his chances there. I thought Kennedy played pretty well as well for them. But at the end, Salzburg showed they deserved to be here, and they won the match, and it was a pretty fun match.
Yeah, it was really good fun. I think you could probably argue Pachuca should have deserved to get something out of the game. Again, possession was almost 50% even. Pachuca 17 shots to Salzburg's 10. That opening 20-30 minutes, it was really, I think, Leo, you said before we actually came on air, there were two very distinct styles. Both of them worked as well, which was really entertaining. It wasn't just one team suffocating the other or dominating the other. Both tactics were working against the other as such. So had Pachuca taken one of their early opportunities, there was a good header from Rondon at one point, then maybe this is a different story. But obviously, the goal just before half-time, again, we highlighted yesterday the key players, Oscar 𝐊𝐤𝐜𝐤. He's such a technically gifted player, and that shot from 20-odd yards was beautiful. I think maybe the goal of the tournament so far, or certainly one of them. It's really interesting. I'll leave the point here. It's really interesting you mentioned about the weather delay and getting used to it because in the States, this doesn't really happen in football matches because football is meant to be played in all weather, more or less. And it's very, very rare you get delays for weather. So the fact that we've already had two significant delays in this tournament as almost like a warning for next year, for everyone just to be aware, especially broadcasters, because obviously if there's a rain delay, you have to fill that with empty space.
Summer thunderstorms. It's so
quite
hot.
An interesting taster.
Yeah, it's so hot right now, and just because it's warm, not to get into the Weather Channel here, but it just the thunderstorms just pop up out of nowhere, and the one that popped up yesterday was really bad. Like they won't cancel it for rain, or they won't postpone it for rain because obviously they played the rest of the match in rain. But the thunderstorms that come through, I posted a picture of it on Twitter last night. The line that was going through Cincinnati, it was nasty. So tornadoes, it wasn't tornadoes, but a possibility to create tornadoes and stuff like this. Pedro, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. Nice to see you guys.
Hello, bom dia.
We're talking about the Salzburg Pachuca match. I don't know if you had a chance to watch.
Yeah, it was tough for me because it was already late in Lisbon, my city, and the game it was interrupted due to weather conditions more than 1 hour.
Yes.
And the issue is it has to say the issue is the lighting. It is the lighting in the safety of the elders. They do the same in NASCAR events. If it is weather conditions of lighting, they interrupt the event. But it was an interesting match to follow because two different stories. Because when the game um, restarted, it was the Pachuca goal with the free kick, and the game became more interesting. I think in that free kick, I'm not an expert, but I think the goalkeeper didn't cover their post
Yeah,
well.
Yeah.
completely agree.
It's my opinion, but the game became more interesting, and Salzburg got the victory in the end. I don't know if you noticed because I like to stay in the B side, different story. I have here two scarves, okay? This scarf of my city. This is the scarf of Benfica with the eagle, the red, and this is the red scarf of Sporting with the lion, okay? Who are the champions? And I like to live in the context that everybody is welcome, and both fans can watch together the games and bring positive energy to the city. For example, in Italy it's opposite. For example, in Italy or even in Spain, when on the other great contenders lose, they go to celebrate to the street. I don't know if you have been, for example, in Madrid. Okay, if Real Madrid lose an important competition, the fans of the Athletic Madrid go to celebrate for their place. And the same in Italy is the same in Milan. Okay, it's exactly the same thing. I'm in the B side. I support. I'm a Sporting fan personally. My son is from Benfica, but I support my clubs, my two clubs from my city, the major clubs. There's more clubs, the clubs who are in the UEFA Champions League, Sporting and Benfica. So if you want to come here to my city, Lisbon, to watch a game, uh, mostly international game from my club, just tell me before to find the tickets to join to you. Okay,
Appreciate it.
go.
Go ahead, Leo.
Just to bounce back on something Daniel and Pedro have noticed about the goals. I think there were three quality goals in these games. In this game, sorry.
Yeah.
Two personal feats and one more collective. And by the way, I found Nene Dongeles, or just Nene, very impressive. He was at the start of the third goal with his lightning dribble, and I think it was. I found him very interesting in that game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Is this Bidstrup the
Yeah,
for the setup? Yeah, it's excellent work, isn't it? Managing to dig out that cross. The header was fantastic. I forgot
yeah.
the striker's name. Onisiwu. I'm afraid I've forgotten his name.
Onisiwo, I think.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
it was such a powerful header. It was yeah, it was a really brilliant finish. It's the sort of thing we were expecting from Salomon Rondon for the other
yeah.
team. But yeah, the fact that we had that pacey winger in Bidstrup, just that one moment of quality of heading down, clip into the box, really quality header. Yeah, it was a really even game. But you're glad that someone won it because, as again, I think maybe from a perhaps slightly disrespectfully, the narrative around Red Bull Salzburg being at this tournament, and I include myself in this because it's obviously no one expected them to be among the best clubs in the world. But while they're here, you'd hope they make themselves proud. You know, like they do themselves justice. And we were talking about Pachuca maybe upsetting them. And also potentially 𝐊𝐤𝐜𝐤. We were saying that this is the most open group for second place. Real Madrid almost certainly going to be first, but it could be anybody for second. Well,
Yeah.
Salzburg have laid down the marker, right? So they've beaten Pachuca. Great, big thumbs up. If they can get a result against 𝐊𝐤𝐜𝐿, chances are they're through to the next round. Good for them, because everybody's been pointing at them saying, like, that's the weak one. And yeah, perhaps we were a bit dismissive of that.
Yeah.
I think the fourth match, I don't know, 4-0 at halftime, 5-0 final. I don't know if you even want to talk about it, but 𝐊𝐤𝐜𝐿, completely overwhelmed. 𝐊𝐤𝐤𝐜𝐿 had 2 goals.
Because
2 goals.
we actually, we ended yesterday's talking about this game, and I said that I felt like Juventus might be better than people think, because their stability, they've actually had stability over the last 5-6 months since 𝐊𝐤𝐤𝐜 took over, and some of the one-touch play in midfield was really lovely. 2 of the goals came from these quick interchanges of passes, and Khéphren Thuram is Khéphren Thuram. He's got a really lovely passing range, and for Moani's second goal, that lovely just clip over the top. Juventus, some of those goals were very, very good.
And I don't have a lot to say about this game, but I got 3 points. The first is about the efficiency of Juventus, because they got 7 shots on target and they scored 5. And what is funny is that 4 of these 5 goals were scored by loanies, because Randal Colomwani is a PSG player, and Conceição is a Porto player. So
of course, yeah.
So they will leave, or they will maybe leave this summer, and it's strange and kind of funny to see that. And the third thing is that I think Bremer's return from his ACL injury will really, really help Juventus, because in my opinion I will not say the best, because I don't watch every Serie A game, but one of the top Serie A defender.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, you can Juventus's struggles last season coincide with him getting injured.
Yeah.
Because before then, I mean, they weren't going wonderfully, but there were lots of 1-0s, 0-0s. They were keeping an incredible number of clean sheets. And essentially, their entire play based themselves on not conceding more than a single goal in a game. And they were doing that. It was working. They weren't top of the league, but they were, I think at the time, they were about 4th or 5th. And they were just slowly building. But then Bremner got injured, and it all fell apart. So yeah, his return is nothing but good. He is among the world's best defenders.
Yeah.
I thought maybe for the second part here, we're going to do Foxy. I haven't been in great shape these last months. Haven't recovered since Hernan Crespo left, so the result wasn't too much of a surprise. 100%. When we talk about, we'll look at the match day 2 of 3 for the group stage, groups A and B. I thought maybe we could take everybody could take a match. I figured Pedro would take Inter Miami and Porto, but everyone maybe could take a match and talk about why it's important there. Do you want to?
Well, Leo, do you want to take PSG, since you'd be the expert on this comparative?
Yeah, I can talk about PSG.
And I guess, Sean, if you take Seattle Sounders, everyone's got a Everyone's got a home team except me.
You want to go with Palmeiras? You want to go with Palmeiras and all that? You could start with the 12 o'clock match, or the 12 o'clock Eastern. Interesting match, huge match.
Well, here's the thing. I think we mentioned this a couple of days ago, but like Group A, the fact that no one has scored, no one has more than a point. So what we've got is almost like a knockout from here. Because if you lose by 3 goals in the next 2 matches, you are out. Your goal difference will be ruinous. So Palmeiras, 𝐿𝐤𝐿. I mean, look, currently I'm actually not sure how they've done this, but currently at the top of the table, according to FIFA, is 𝐿𝐤𝐿 and then Porto, Palmeiras, and then Inter Miami. So it's not alphabetical. I think it actually might be yellow cards, weirdly. But yes, so obviously we all thought Porto would win this group. They were slightly disappointing in the first game, but a lot of European nations have been have been slightly disappointing. Some have squeaked out wins. Some have been held for draws, and that's fine. Sometimes it takes you a while to build into these games, into tournaments. I think Al-Ahly and Palmeiras actually have an opportunity to win the group now, which would obviously give you a favourable draw in the next round. But so if we go back to Group A, so the winners of obviously Group A would play the runners-up in Group B, which would be Botafogo, Salta Sounders, or Atletico Madrid. Probably Atletico Madrid. But that's not guaranteed because Botafogo have 3 points, so obviously they could do well. So so Porto in a vulnerable position. Is it Palmeiras and Porto in the first game? Yes, it was Palmeiras. Palmeiras have already played Porto. They've already played statistically the strongest team in the group. So Palmeiras have this huge opportunity to win the group and progress, and then get an easier draw in the next round, which would be huge. Al-Ahly, obviously, they've only played Inter Miami, so they've got their games get harder as you go along. So they started with Inter Miami, only got a point. Now they're playing Palmeiras, and they'll finish against Porto. So again, Al-Ahly, this is their opportunity to get 3 points. So I'm really hoping for opportunity they both have. I think Palmeiras showed a lot of guile, a lot of intelligence in their draw with Porto, and I think they could have won it. They probably should. They think they deserve to win it, to be honest. So it's not really a big takeaway, but again, because just the situation of the group, every team is at risk, but every team has a chance, which is what you want. What you want is every team to be able to go through on the final game, and because of the way this group is, this will allow that. But so Palmeiras and Al-Ahly, these are the two teams that have the opportunity to win the group ahead of Porto, and I'm hoping both will attempt to seize that opportunity. My money's on a Palmeiras. They looked really good in the first game, whereas Al-Ahly looked into Miami. They didn't cover themselves in glory, although again probably should have won. But really looking forward to that one.
Sorry. Foxy's interested to hear your opinion on the Porto game. And Anselmi, as a manager, I really like. And on paper, this team looks really good, but it's not gelling at the moment. A lot of potential in that team, though. Duke, maybe what do you think about Porto in this game here?
The question is more has a better than for a game analytic. I'm trading Porto. I'm taking Miami in the handicap, and I take the goal. It's my play. I don't understand why Porto is so favorite on the book. So for me, the right play, if you can have a goal or a goal and a half, it's worth the shot. Porto played nothing against Palmeiras. Palmeiras deserves to win the match. They have clear opportunities to win the match. And Porto is facing a crisis. It's not only a team crisis. It's on the board. It's also with the fans disliking the match performance. So I think Miami have here an opportunity of a draw or don't lose the game for more than of a goal. That's my perception of the game for a better. Okay, I hope Porto plays better than in the other game. If not, they go home early. That's my opinion.
Kunjapu 21. Hello, how's it going? Thanks for watching. I think I have this the Seattle and Atletico Madrid match. It's going to be in Seattle. Look, does Atletico Madrid want to be here after that drubbing the other day, 4-0, or do they want to, be done with this tournament and take a vacation before the season starts? Because if they lose today, they can put the reserves out in the next match and basically be on the beach by a week from today. If they want to be in this tournament, and because look, they're a talented team. and they finished third in La Liga, so obviously a very talented team. If they want to take this tournament seriously, and once again, who know? I'm not sure of all the teams' motivations. I don't know if all the teams want to be here. I don't know if teams are using it as more of an early preseason before they go on holiday and then have to come back, which I think some teams might be doing. I don't know if maybe they're trying to win. Obviously, I don't think teams are trying to lose, but maybe teams are taking it a little more seriously than others. Because in this match, you would think if Atletico Madrid wants to stay here and wants to win, they should come out here and play well and probably win this game, 2-3-1, something like this. I think Seattle will think they have a chance because they did play well the other night, even in a loss. So, which team is going to come out for Atletico Madrid? I think that's the huge story today. So, hold on one second.
Quickly, I would say it's what's very exciting is that realistically, because Seattle end the group against PSG, if they lose this, they're out.
Yeah.
So
both teams, I think both teams, if they lose today, they're out. If they draw, it's you're kind of still, you still have a chance going into match day 3. But I think it's an interesting game for that. It's going to be. I'll probably be watching it because, I'd like to see how Seattle's going to be up for it. They're at home.
That home crowd was so much fun in the first game.
Yep. Seattle's going to be up for it.
The crowd's
going to be amazing, and they're playing a big team. Seattle is going to be up for this match. And Seattle is they're a talented team, for an MLS team. I really would like if Atletico. This is the way I see it. If Atletico Madrid was serious here, they would come out and win 4-1. Because they have Julian Alvarez. They have the talent to do it. But this is their second game in 3 days. It's really hot here in America. Once again, are they going to play the same lineup? Are they going to rotate? How is this going to happen? I just think for me, it's a really intriguing contest.
Yeah.
Leo, what about PSG?
So I think it will be an interesting game on different aspects. Firstly, it will oppose the last Champions League winner and the last Copa Libertadores winner, which are two continental champions. So on the paper, this opposition will be interesting. Moreover, the winner of this game will be automatically qualified for the round of 16 because with 6 points, it will be okay for the winner, as PSG have beaten Atletico 4-0 in the first round and Botafogo Seattle. So it will be interesting on that aspect. Moreover, if you want to go further, it will be also a duel between John Textor and Nasser Al-Khelaifi, because you probably know that John Textor is the owner of Olympique Lyonnais, and he has
about 10 clubs, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He owns of the Palace because that was a whole story this summer. I don't know, maybe he diluted his shares or whatever, but there was a whole thing. Crystal Palace.
No, that's still running on. That's still up in the air.
We don't know yet if they can compete in the Europa League, and it's
they found a way to let Manchester City and Red Bull do it with the same teams. I think having a minority share in it, that should be fine. It would be incredibly hypocritical if they stopped Crystal Palace.
And they also did it for Milan and Toulouse. I think they can figure it out. But in the French league, they got a lot of problems between them. I remember that Nasser Al-Khelaifi said that John Textor cannot come to France and act like a cowboy. And the week after, there was Lyon PSG, and John Textor came into the stadium with a cowboy hat. It was it's illustrative of all that heated situation between between them, like it is for the media rights, because France has a big problem concerning TV rights, and John Textor doesn't like how Nasser Al Khelaifi acts, because he thinks he's the major decider of everything, as he's the president of PSG. So it will be a game in the game, and but in my opinion, if we are just talking about sports and on the field, there will be no match. PSG will win this game because I think they are the best team in the tournament, and from what they have shown against Atletico and what all their possible rivals have shown in their different matches, I don't think any team can beat them at the moment.
Yeah, and actually, you make a really good point about that. Actually, now that we've seen every single team,
Yeah,
we have the context of why didn't we think PSG? Because we said it a few episodes ago. Why weren't PSG the favourites? And having seen all the teams, they probably are.
yeah,
It'd be interesting to see what Bayern Munich do against in their next match, because obviously against Auckland City you can't really see it. But it's also considering you think about like the largest clubs in the tournament, how many of them have the same manager or the same core players as they had, like say 3 months ago. So obviously Inter changing management, Real Madrid changing management. So actually, a team like Bayern Munich or PSG having consistency of their core squad as well as their management actually might give them the advantage, because all the players know what they're doing already. Does that make
yeah,
sense?
And
yeah,
even though they played in the Champions League final, they're still fresh because the league was wrapped up in January, so they were rotating throughout the league. Basically the entire 2025 at this point, because they had a 20-point lead. So they're not they're not like Inter, who played down to the end of the season. They're not like some of these teams who played down to the end of the season and were playing for had to play Real Madrid, who had to play their players all the way through because they were on trying to win trophies. So and
yeah.
But then, sorry.
But the thing is that I just have to give credit to Luis Enrique, because yeah, they were champions back in, I think, officially back in late March or early April, but they could have finished the league undefeated, and it was one of the main points Luis Enrique wanted to achieve. So he didn't succeed because they lost against Nice at home, but when he could have change players, he didn't really. He changed, yeah. Maybe Barcola played instead of Kvara, or Ramos entered earlier in the games to Dembele, but it was a pretty consistent team all the season long, I think.
Actually, now thinking about it, because obviously how teams play in the group to say the knockout stages will alter slightly. But considering how much of Paris Saint-Germain's game is based on pressing and overwhelming the opposition in their half, it'll be really interesting to see if they're able to do that against, say, another big team once we get into the quarterfinals, in the humidity and the heat of the United States. Because obviously we were wondering if they'd be able to do it throughout the entire of the Champions League, and they did, almost universally successful. Obviously, there are games like where actually they were caught cold and could have lost. But for the most part, their pressing was perfect. They could keep it up over an entire 90 minutes. But the humidity and the temperature, it's going to be an entirely different thing. Now, obviously, in the group stage, they may not need to do it to that extent because they're against comparatively weak opposition. But once they get into the knockouts, it'll be interesting to see if they're able to keep that press up, and actually, are there then weaknesses against them just because of the weather.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
All right. Any last words today on this interesting?
I mean, let's just hope there's some goals for Group A, because because there are no goals so far in their two matches. If it's another 2-0 nils, it makes the last set of matches very interesting. But also, nothing will have happened. So let's just hope for some goals in this to offer jeopardy.
But maybe it would be the best 2-0 and everything in the final match day.
Yeah, just a roll of the dice.
Yeah.
3-0. Yeah, we 6-0 nils, and we got to flip a coin to see who goes through.
No, I think it would go to yellow cards. Who had the most yellow cards? If it was no goals, no point.
That's all we need.
Sean, let me say one thing. Is today it's the game 6 of the NBA Finals in Indianapolis. The Pacers will try to force Game 7, and in my opinion, will be the best game of the series. If I saw the line movement, let me check my betting samples.
Halliburton is injured, just so you know.
Yeah, he's facing a calf injury.
He's going to try to play, but
he's trying to play. Yeah. But listen. Indianapolis, the crowd is amazing. The supporting cast, they are really good shooters as well. They have also Pascal Siakam, who is playing very well. It will be a very, very interesting match to follow.
There's a lot of stuff going on. If you've this with the Club World Cup on the East, mostly on the East today, some matches on the West. The Gold Cup is going on. The NBA Finals, the NHL Finals just ended. The Stanley Cup, the College World Series for baseball. It's not. I grew up here, so I'm used to it. But these when you're from other countries, sometimes it's like over. You're like, wait, what? Like if you have like the IPTV, every channel is baseball, basketball, hockey. Like it's in the middle of June, and they're still playing on the ice.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on right now.
I do have one more thing. I forgot to say it yesterday because the under-21 championship is happening in Europe, but it's also, I believe the under-19 European Championship happening at the same time. Not yesterday. I think the day before. It was Germany's under-19s against England under-19s. At half-time, it was 4-1 to Germany. 5 minutes after the break, it was 5-1 to Germany. And then 15 minutes later, it was 5-5.
Oh, whoa.
Most astonishing 15 minutes of you've ever seen. It was just quite strange. And then, shockingly, no goals for the rest of the match. But yeah, so keeping an eye on the under-19s, the under-21s, because actually there's a lot of sort of more chaotic, more attacking football. But yes, a 5-5, 10 goals in the opening 68 minutes, I think it was.
Portugal will play Netherlands in the quarterfinal for the U21. Spain will play England. Denmark will play France. Germany will play Italy.
Yeah,
so maybe we could talk
about champions, but they were looked quite vulnerable against Germany.
Yes, maybe Friday.
There's not quite the right balance there.
Yes, maybe Friday. Foxy has been watching that as well. I know Foxy knows. Once again, if you have any kind of questions, L Fox on Twitter or X, whatever it's called, he will tell you because the German keeper Konstantin Heid had his shocker. He watches every single match. I think he's in your field, Pedro. I'm not positive, but whatever. All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No. I was just saying one thing. In the under-21, Portugal never won the previous 25 editions. Portugal just won finalists in 3 occasions: 94, 2015, and 2021. So Portugal is not favorite at all to win this tournament.
All right.
Francis.
Look,
as usual.
France is U21, U23, U19, U15.
Yeah.
There's
everything.
a pipeline of talent, and that's where everybody you see that with PSG right now. All right, so we'll be back tomorrow. Make sure you're tuning back in, and we'll go through this, and then maybe tomorrow at some point. Tomorrow's Friday, I believe, right? I don't even know what date it is anymore. We could possibly look at that U21 tournament, and once again the Premier League schedule, at least as it came out. As I know, Foxy will be looking to see who Newcastle plays. All right.
Have a great day, everyone.
Have a good day.
Okay, take care, guys.